back to playing the wonderful members of this community. Puzzle Rush is decent, decent training. Yeah, Zen mode. I don't know which game you're referring to, Buck. Yeah, I mean all of those, general bits of advice, Magos, like the one you've just quoted by Marcus Railovich, they are correct, but the trick is actually using them in practical situations, in particular when you are very, very tired after playing a long game. Puzzle Rush is too fast, but you don't have to play the timed Puzzle Rush. You can go survival. Survival is actually kind of relaxing and enjoyable. Yeah, I wish I definitely have seen it, Buck, but I don't actually recall it. Yeah, I would need to let me actually look it up. I have ChessBase open on the second computer, so it's not that difficult for me to look this up. How far in terms of moves can you see, considering all variations in a given random position? This is really not the question you should be asking, Iverson, because, or at least you should formulate it slightly differently. The question that really is sort of interesting is, how far can you see cleanly? Because just making a random, really, really long calculation is not difficult. The big question is how many mistakes you will make in the process of making that incredibly long calculation. So that would very much depend on how difficult the position is. In some kind of a very simplified pawn endgame, I don't think there's sort of any limit. But in a middle game position with a lot of ideas, it's very difficult to judge. But yeah, I think like 10 move calculations are absolutely like run of the mill. Going deeper than that requires, once again, very much depends on the position and requires a lot of time investment in in complicated tactical positions. But it's mainly really, it's hugely dependent on what the position is. So which one of these is Sofia? Show tournament. Ah, that game. That game is fun. Yeah, I've gotten your game up on the screen, Buck. Not one of the games I know particularly intimately, but I remember it being very, very complicated and very difficult to assess. Yeah, I understand the frustration of people who have been waiting for a game for a long, long time here and still aren't getting a game. But I think any kind of a system that is designed to handpick opponents is bound to fail. For years and years on Chess24, I was doing my banters in a very specific way, and I thought everybody was happy with it. And then it turned out that there is a really large population who like passionately dislikes the way I choose opponents in them. And now I am sort of very confused and don't really know how to calibrate once again. this is probably like I'm playing exactly into what my opponent is trying to do. So I don't know if this is very wise. I guess I will have to give up an exchange if Queen b6 gets played. My system was I generally would just try to pick the higher rated challenges, mixing in some of the lower rated ones, because I felt that. And once again, it will sound like I'm disrespecting my opponents, but it's something that I've learned, for instance, when I was playing billiards, Russian billiards, sort of not competitively, but I was playing it for money in my youth. I wasn't a hustler, but I was definitely playing against hustlers. Let's put it like this. And when I first started, I would go into the billiard hall and I would just ask for a game, and people would say, "Sure, young man, what kind of a handicap would you like?" And I would say, "No handicap. I was by this point like, I don't know, 3-time Russian champion and so on. I felt like, I'm already a professional sportsman. I don't really like asking for handicap. I don't really like, the idea of not playing on an equal footing against anybody in any game." And they would kind of shrug and say, "Sure," and then beat me absolutely senseless, of course, because I wasn't good enough. And I thought, okay, this is how it's supposed to work. I'm learning. I'm not supposed to become, good at this new game overnight. I'm definitely picking up some new things and so on. No, handicap. It wasn't golf. It was billiards. But basically, in Russian billiards, you can give. I'm not entirely familiar with like the system of handicaps in let's say pool. I'm sure it exists, but I don't know exactly how it works. But in Russian billiards, the winner is the first to pot 8 balls. It's very simple. There is no like you don't need to pot the black to win. The first one to 8 wins. So you can ask for like something like 8-5. So it's 8 for them and 5 for you to win. And then it becomes a lot harder for them to win, of course, obviously. But I wasn't asking for it because I was kind of proud and also stupid. And I thought this was sort of how it's supposed to work until at some point one of them talked to me and he said, "What you don't realize when you're doing it this way is when I'm not giving you any handicap, there's absolutely no incentive for me to play well, because when we're playing evens, I know I will beat you regardless of what I do, pretty much, because you're an idiot and I've played this game professionally for the last 20 years. So what ends up happening is I pay absolutely no attention to the game and I don't show you my best stuff. I don't show you any of the difficult things which are required to win a game when there's pressure. So what you end up getting is kind of second-rate service. You don't see me playing anywhere near my fullest capacity. On the other hand, if you will ask me for handicap, my money will be on the line, because if I play poorly while giving you, 3 balls odds, I will be forced to actually play well, because otherwise it will cost me money, and I don't like when things cost me money. So you should really be asking for handicap, not because you necessarily value money, because the stakes weren't very high. I could afford to lose. But he said, if you're actually interested in learning, you should very much encourage people to give you odds. And my approach to playing Banter Blitz sessions, or at least my approach when I just started doing them on Chess24, was, yes, I'm here to tell funny stories if funny stories kind of coincide with me playing the game. I'm here to provide some kind of entertainment, but I would also like to think that I'm providing some kind of an educational service. I am trying to show you how to play certain positions well. I'm trying to show like the typical plans and so on. I'm also actually making, not right now, not in this game, because this game so far is a kind of a symmetrical Italian, so not much is happening. But generally speaking, during a banter blitz, my idea always was that I'm supposed to actually try and improve people's understanding of how to play chess. And for that to work better, I need to feel like I'm being pressured. And this is and sort of with that reasoning in mind, uh, I tended to specifically sort of search out and accept the higher rated challenges. And then it turned out that there is a lot of people who really, really dislike this because they feel that this system kind of deprives them of a chance to play against me. And they feel that the entire model should give them an equal chance of playing against me compared to, let's say, the title players. So I had to take this into account because it wasn't the view that I held originally, but if there's a lot of people who think that, uh, clearly it has to be respected. Exactly. Hence, to cut a long story short, randomness doesn't discriminate. Yeah, this is definitely one of the reasons why I decided to install uh, the plugin that accepts a random challenge, because I think there's really no way for me to please everybody, and this way there's absolutely no suggestion of my personal biases. Favorite movies you have, chess related or otherwise? Chess related, not really. Like, I think the best chess movie ever made is a Soviet movie called Grandmaster, which I think most of you would not have seen, because I think it's old and I don't think it traveled very much outside of Russia. But uh, Tal and Korchnoi actually played parts in it. Uh, so you can imagine, the level of consultancy that went into that, and obviously that resulted in a chess movie, which, the chess parts of it were extremely well researched and extremely well filmed. Uh, and I think like it has absolutely no rival in terms of chess movies. Like all of the more famous ones. Admittedly, I have not seen, let's say, Searching for Bobby Fischer. Maybe it's a good movie, but I'm pretty sure like the level of research uh, is like completely unrivaled for that compared to everything else. Favorite movies in general, I definitely do have favorite movies. And once again, I have like a stock answer to that question, which I normally give. The only movie I have seen in a movie theater 2 nights in a row is In the Mood for Love by Wong Kar-wai. So that should probably tell you something. You don't normally watch something 2 nights in a row in a theater.